Please subscribe to our channel, Pacific Front Untold, and be sure to leave a comment after watching a video. Comfort women is the euphemistic term used to describe the estimated 200,000 women and girls that the Imperial Japanese Army forced into systematic military sexual slavery from the early 1930s to the end of World War II. Comfort women is a widely disputed term, both because it conceals the violent nature of sexual slavery and because many comfort women were minors between the ages of 13 and 17. However, most historians continue to use this term to identify this specific instance of military-sponsored and organized sex slavery compared to other instances of human trafficking. Comfort women were taken from the many Asian countries occupied by Japan. They were often taken under false pretenses through employment offers for jobs like cleaning, housekeeping, waitressing, and nursing, while others were coerced and some were outright abducted. An estimated 80% of comfort women were from Korea, which Japan had colonized in 1910, and where it exerted significant influence. But there were also girls taken from countries including China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Burma. The exact numbers are unknown because many comfort women died during World War II, and most of the surviving comfort women kept silent until the 1990s due to the mental trauma they experienced and the intense social stigma surrounding the role of comfort women during the war. Additionally, the Japanese military government destroyed many incriminating documents and records at the end of the war to hide the atrocities they had committed. During the early 1930s, some comfort stations existed, but it wasn't until after the 1937 Nanjing Massacre, or Rape of Nanjing, where Japanese soldiers killed hundreds of thousands of Chinese civilians and tens of thousands of people were raped, did the Imperial Japanese Army create the comfort women system in an attempt to control their soldiers' sexual activity. The comfort stations were designed to simultaneously protect the moral reputation of the Imperial Japanese Army, minimize anger from civilians in occupied territories, and prevent troops from contracting venereal diseases. The implementation of the comfort women system did not, however, prevent Japanese soldiers from raping civilians or considerably reduce the spread of venereal diseases among the ranks. Japan had a culture of legalized prostitution prior to 1956, so initially the Imperial Japanese military brought professional Japanese prostitutes to meet the sexual needs of its soldiers. However, the military could not recruit enough Japanese prostitutes and quickly turned to recruiting women and girls from occupied territories. The military and the recruiters they hired deliberately sought young, unmarried girls because they wanted virgins in order to reduce the spread of venereal diseases. Additionally, comfort women were disproportionately from poor families who either accepted false job offers out of necessity or did not have the money or influence to resist coercion. The ratio of comfort women to soldiers is estimated to have ranged from about 1 to 35 to 1 to 100, with the average being 1 woman per 50 soldiers. The scarcity of comfort women and the high demand by Japanese soldiers resulted in many comfort women being raped daily by dozens of soldiers. Former comfort woman Maria Rosa Henson described how, every day from 2 in the afternoon until 10 in the evening, the soldiers lined up outside my room. I did not even have time to wash after each assault. At the end of the day, I just closed my eyes and cried. Comfort women lived in perpetual fear of being killed and were often beaten or maimed for resisting soldiers. Their movements and ability to leave their comfort stations were severely limited, and some comfort women were also forced to cook and clean for the soldiers. Because soldiers rarely used their military-issued condoms, many pregnant comfort women were forced to have abortions or were even killed, while most surviving comfort women became infertile from the injections given by army doctors to treat venereal diseases. Although the Japanese military referred to comfort women as prostitutes, and soldiers paid to use comfort stations, which is controversial in and of itself, comfort women did not choose to work, and most comfort women never received the promised compensation for their work, with the money soldiers paid lining the pockets of comfort station managers. The few that received compensation received it in the Japanese military yen, which had no value once the war ended. Comfort women were controlled and turned into a commodity to such an extent that most scholars and UN reports agree that sexual slavery is the most applicable term. While the exact numbers are unknown, a 1998 UN report by G.J. McDougall estimated that only 25% of comfort women survived their sexual enslavement. The remaining 75% of comfort women either died by the end of World War II by being attacked alongside Japanese soldiers by Allied forces, murdered by Japanese soldiers, suicide, or death from medical complications created from their horrific experiences. Surviving comfort women kept silent about their experiences due to the trauma and heavy stigma that surrounded survivors who experienced sexual violence. In 1991, at the age of 67, Kim Hak-sun shared her testimony about her experience as a comfort woman. This sparked many former comfort women to follow suit and led to investigations into the largest atrocity cover-up committed by the Imperial Japanese Army. In 1992, Japanese Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa apologized to comfort women, but Japan has largely resisted taking full responsibility for the complete truth about comfort women and their subjugation into sexual slavery. Decades after the war, victims are still negotiating terms of reparations without much success or closure. Unfortunately, most of the victims have since passed away, with their emotional wounds unhealed, their stories untold, and pain consigned to history.